When you look at this photograph, what do you see? I mean, besides the dandelions, do you see a problem that needs to be solved? Do you see a hands and knees project that's going to take valuable time away from your weekends to do some weeding? Do you perhaps see a plot of land with a dandelion disorder? Or do you maybe see a gourmet treat that you can't wait to pluck and put into your dinner salad? Do you see a starting ingredient for dandelion wine or dandelion tea? Do you see the fourth most nutritious green vegetable? Do you maybe see a flower? There's a wide range of ways to view dandelions. And if differences in perspectives of something as simple as dandelions have such a wide range of impacts, can you imagine the implications of differences in perspectives of something as complicated as people? Today, I challenge you to change your lens and change your perspective, to think of differences, particularly differences in people, as opportunities instead of unwanted problems. Because the perspectives that we hold have a huge impact on our lives and on our world. Author David Bornstein says that innovation comes from the margins of society. That companies benefit when they generate valuable accidents and when they harness the talents of people from a wide variety of backgrounds and perspectives. Now, just what does that mean, to harness the talents of people from a wide variety of perspectives and backgrounds? Well, I have a wonderful example to share with you today, and it involves the discovery that some people with high-functioning autism have incredible talents. And a new kind of social enterprise business model which employs these talents is springing up around the world. This business model leverages these talents in a variety of fields, including information technology, which is where this story starts. Mark Andreessen is perhaps most widely known as the co-inventor of the first most widely used web browser. And Mark says that software is eating the world. And I think what he means by this is innovation in software development is changing virtually every economic sector. And the IT industry is going gangbusters. And it's not a bubble. Perhaps one of the limiting factors in this IT economic growth engine is human resources. There simply aren't enough software developers. Because while the demand for software developers is increasing, the enrollment in computer education is decreasing. Just how badly do we need new coders? Well, in fact, in the IT talent war, software developers who are at the top of their field are commanding up to $250 an hour because there just aren't enough of them to go around. And in fact, New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg declared his intention to learn JavaScript this year as part of the Code Academy's Code Year Challenge. And with IT testers, the need are even greater, because IT testers require an attention to detail and a persistence at repetitive activities for long periods of time without sacrificing efficiency or quality. It's a rare group of people who possess these skills. And so it's in this context of a high-growth industry with a high demand for skilled employees that businesses are starting to discover a largely untapped pool of talented people with high-functioning autism. For those of you who don't know autism, autism is a pervasive developmental disability. It's called a spectrum disorder because it affects all people differently. But the common denominator in almost everyone with autism is an impairment in social understanding and communication. And yet, these people with autism also have a different perspective and a different background, and some of them have some pretty specialized and unique talents. Parents and caregivers in the autism community have long known that their children, who are sometimes seen as dandelions, unwanted dandelions, also have some pretty unique talents. And for those of you who aren't familiar with some of these talents, I have a few stories to illustrate. My husband and I have an incredible 15-year-old son named Tim who has autism. Tim also has a remarkable memory. And so we've coined a new verb, which is to toogle. So whenever we have something really important that we just can't remember, like the name of that plumber that we hired 6 years ago who did such an amazing job on our house, we toogle it. And we found that our son has an even more customized and efficient approach with us than any search engine that Google could ever invent. Another example of these special skills, which is perhaps more powerful because it's more visual, comes from a colleague of mine who also has a son with autism. His son's name is Lars, and when Lars was 7 years old, Lars sketched a picture, and it looks like this. Now, his father wondered what Lars was drawing, and he soon discovered the original diagram that his son was reproducing from memory, which looks like this. What Lars had drawn is a map of the area codes of Europe. And his father likes to tell this story, and when he tells it, he says proudly that he's never found a single error in this diagram. Pretty impressive, huh? Garrett Westlake, who is an entrepreneur and an employment specialist, tells a story about a college applicant who submitted these ACT test scores for admission: a perfect math score and a reading score of 8. Now, this shotgun pattern of high and low scores is not uncommon in the autism community, but it's not also very common in college acceptances. And so this special needs individual was just not denied admission to college. I'd like to be able to tell you that the job process, the process of obtaining a job, is more forgiving, but in truth it isn't. Because the inability to make good eye contact and the inability to make small talk in an interview, which are some of the traits of people with autism, is not highly valued by employers who are looking to hire new employees. And so Garrett Westlake asked the question, is a stalled education process or a halted career the best that we can do for people who are dandelions? They have some deficits, and yet from a certain point of view, they clearly have some talents. And his answer is a resounding no. Mr. Westlake now owns a company that finds employment opportunities in highly specific areas of science, technology, engineering, and math for incredibly talented individuals who also happen to have autism. A British research study recently published says that individuals with autism, in fact, have a greater ability to process large amounts of information. And in fact, individuals with autism are more skilled at picking out the important details in those large amounts of data. The study says that people with autism actually have an increased perceptual capacity for information compared to the rest of us in the population, neurotypical people. And that's not all of it. It goes on from there. This is a short list of skills that are sometimes accentuated in some people with autism. They include a passion for details, exceptional visual acuity, a strong memory, high levels of concentration, out-of-the-box thinking, persistence in repetitive activities, and an enhanced ability to identify outliers or changes in patterns. Now, if you're looking at this and thinking, well, this kind of looks like an IT job description, business leaders have noticed that as well. But in fact, this skill set is also able to be applied to such areas as accounting, actuarial sciences, biological and chemical lab testing, finance, legal and medical research, supply chain management, and many other occupations as well. In fact, the business of winemaking requires some of these skills, and there's a winery in Japan that hires individuals with autism. The businesses that hire individuals with autism selectively are known as social enterprises. And they can be for-profit, they can also be non-profit. And some of the really cool characteristics of them are that they respect people as dandelions. This means that these employers understand that their employees have some special and very unique skills. At the same time, they're spending some of their profits to support the special needs of those very same employees. The companies are highly innovative, and yet they're not motivated by a desire to maximize the return on investment for external shareholders. Instead, they work to maximize improvements in human well-being that then comes around to support and sustain the business even more. And some of the really cool things that these businesses are doing is they've become quite skilled at defining the best job profile for each individual employee based on that individual skill set and the needs of the industry. They're really, really good at creating a comfort zone or an ideal environment for the special needs of those employees, including creating an environment where it's normal to have autism. And finally, they better manage the individuals who don't fit in or who haven't really realized their full potential. Social enterprises are going viral around the world, and I think there's 3 reasons why. The first is that it's just good business. If you talk to the folks at Gallup, a performance management consulting company, they'll tell you that one way to net the greatest profit, the greatest return on investment, is to harness the talents and develop the strengths of your employees, particularly the ones that are different. Robert Austin of the University of New Brunswick says that employers haven't paid enough attention to the people who are different because they have a competitive value. He says that when you notice someone who's different, there just might be something remarkable or important in that. And in fact, many of the brilliant people in the IT industry, some of whom might have scored rather high on the autism scales, were effective because companies were willing to work with them. Another reason why the social enterprises are going viral, I believe, is because they're literally life-changing in the lives of the adult employees with autism. 80% of adults with autism are unemployed. That's 80%. Now, these businesses go way past providing real and sustainable occupations and economic independence. The people who work for these companies experience actual career progression. They report a sense of fulfillment and a sense of purpose in their lives. Some of them are moving out of their parents' basements for the first time ever because they're able to live independently. Their health status improves, both mental and physical health. And they embrace their colleagues. They learn to socialize. They make friends. They hang out after work. In essence, they belong. And isn't that something we all deserve? And finally, one of the reasons why these social enterprises are going viral around the world is because they transform communities. A recent study in Scotland that looked at the social return on investment for these IT businesses that hire employees with autism found a 4-fold social investment return. And that means that for every dollar spent creating those businesses, $4 were saved in healthcare and government resources, a 4-fold return. But it's more than money and numbers, isn't it? Communities are healthier when more of us get to go to work and bring what we can do to our communities. And so, celebrating dandelions, celebrating what people can do, their untapped potential, is more than just social justice. It's good business. From a business perspective, the 21st century is going to be about managing the people that don't fit in. And employers will survive and thrive based on their abilities to harness those talents and develop the strengths of their employees, particularly the ones that are different. The concepts of normal and weird, what's normal, what's weird, frankly, it's just holding us back. Because normal has both an economic and a social cost. I think we should just get rid of normal. And I think we should do this because, if we're really honest about it, aren't each one of us a little bit of a dandelion? Don't we each have some deficits and strengths? And isn't the interface of those deficits, and strengths, the point at which the seeds of our own personal genius lie. Change begins when we have the intention to see opportunity, when we start to see people as the amazing combination of gifts that they are, then their potential is set in motion. And the impact spreads exponentially as dandelions do, these valuable dandelions around the globe. Thank you.